Are you looking for the best motherboard for Ryzen 5 2600? In this video we will look at some of the best motherboard for Ryzen 5 2600. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 1. MSI B450 Gaming Pro Carbon AC. Featuring AMD's fantastic B450 chipset, even just on the surface, this motherboard is a shoo-in for your 2600 build, but when you look a little closer, you realize just how amazing it really is. Loaded with beefy carbon fiber heatsinks, 6 fan headers, and a juicy 8+2 power phase VRM, this thing is an overclocker's dream, the cool running power design ensuring a stable CPU voltage as you push your R5 2600 beyond its factory limits. The Carbon AC's memory configuration doesn't disappoint either. Capable of running a maximum of 64GB DDR4 RAM at 3466 MHz, day-to-day computational tasks run silky smooth. What's more, it's XMP compatible, meaning you can boost your RAM alongside your CPU for some epic performance gains, making it one of the best motherboards for gaming too. Boasting both integrated Wi-Fi 5 and Gigabit LAN Ethernet, you're afforded both freedom to roam from your router and, if need be, a super-fast, reliable connection. This is a board that punches well above its weight without breaking a sweat. It's a little pricey for a B450, but it really is the best of the best. Number 2. MSI B450 Tomahawk MAX. If you like the sound of the Carbon AC, but it's a little too rich for your blood, the Tomahawk is the natural alternative. A little less feature-dense than the Carbon, it still has all the essentials for making the most out of your R5 2600, one of them being its RAM capacity. This monstrous motherboard can make full use of 64GB 2466 DDR4 memory, but if that doesn't quite float your boat, why not open the frequency strap selector and push capacity to 4200 MHz? While the heatsink isn't quite as impressive as the Carbon due to the lack of, well, carbon, the 4+2 power design still lends itself incredibly well to some OC wizardry. With a quality fan curve, there's no reason you can't push your R5 2600 well beyond stock settings. Honestly, besides having a slightly diminished audio capacity, the only real issue we found with the Tomahawk is that it doesn't have Wi-Fi, but while you may be anchored to your router, the Gigabit LAN ensures you always have a solid connection. The beauty of this board isn't found in raw power, rather in the balance of design and abilities that let the Ryzen 5 2600 shine. Number 3. ASRock B450 Pro 4. Capable of supporting 64GB of DDR4 RAM up to speeds of 2400 MHz, the Pro 4 makes an excellent platform for a super-efficient Ryzen 5 2600 build. Plus, you can boost its memory speed capacity to 3200 MHz with a spot of overclocking. Speaking of, this beast has a 10-phase power design, and the heatsink is relatively proficient too, meaning you can overclock your 2600 for some high frame rate 1440p or 4K gaming. In terms of audio, you get the Realtek ALC892 as opposed to the more impressive ALC1220, but it still has plenty of sonic clout, helping to create an immersive gaming experience or simply do your favorite tunes justice. There's no Wi-Fi on this board, which may be a deal breaker for some, but check the price on this thing. We'll wait. Amazing, right? And though it may lack wireless connectivity, it does have a Gigabit LAN Ethernet port, so your connection speed will be second to none. The ASRock Pro 4 also features AMD Quad Crossfire, a technology that enables you to use 4 GPUs simultaneously. There's absolutely no need to do this with something like the R5 2600, but it's a cool feature nonetheless, one that illustrates the true power of this budget board. Number 4. MSI B450i Gaming Plus AC. Coming in at our penultimate spot, we have our first mini ITX motherboard, the MSI B450i Gaming Plus. Little it may be, it still packs a serious punch. Take the memory capacity for example. After a little tweaking with XMP, it can support 32GB of DDR4 memory up to 3466 MHz. That's enough for any application short of intensive image and video editing. The VRM is made up of an 8-phase system and a 6+2 configuration. Match it with some quality cooling, and you should have no problem supplementing performance with some mild overclocks. It doesn't feature Wi-Fi connectivity, which is a definite downside, but if it means that much to you, you can fork out another $10 for the Gaming Plus Max Wi-Fi. Otherwise, the Gigabit LAN should keep you happy. If you've been dreaming of a discrete SFF build, the Gaming Plus is undoubtedly the best option available. Some may be put off by the price tag that doesn't scale with the size, but mini ITX boards often cost more due to their scarcity. Number 5. MSI B450M ProVDH MAX. Our final magical Ryzen 5 2600 motherboard is nothing short of a micro ATX masterpiece. Capable of supporting 64GB of DDR4, 2133 MHz memory spread across the 4 expansion slots, it's an incredibly low latency system with snappy load and boot times and swift file operation. In addition, if you need the odd boost for some high-resolution gaming, it can handle speeds up to 3466 MHz. It's a budget board, so it doesn't have Wi-Fi connectivity, but of course, it has the next best thing, Gigabit LAN. In fact, the stability and speed of LAN is a much more sensible option for things that require a steady connection like online multiplayer gaming or content creation workflows. PCIe 4 support in B450 boards is fairly limited anyway, but unfortunately, the ProVDH doesn't have any PCIe 4 ports whatsoever. Realistically, though, this isn't going to have much of an effect on day-to-day performance other than a slightly larger energy requirement, which is already offset by the smaller form factor. Aesthetically, it's a very neutral, tasteful board. Well, it still looks like a bird's-eye view of a nuclear power plant, but a slick, futuristic one. It's made of tough stuff too, evidenced by the reinforced graphics slot, so even though it's a diminutive design, it's not scared to be twinned with beefy peripherals.